Hey everyone, welcome back to Great Northwest Weaponry. This is Thomas, and today we are taking a look at the Beretta Modello 1951, also just known as the M1951, Modello being Italian for model. This gun is a pretty interesting one. This does not belong to me first off. This was lent to me to shoot a video with by my friend Colin, so thank you Colin, appreciate it. It's a very cool piece. There's a couple different interesting design features of this gun. For one, this is Beretta's first locking block pistol. I believe that's how you phrase it. It's roughly based on the Walther P38, and Berettas are kind of known for that now, but prior to the model 1951, they were all straight blowback with no locking block. So this was the first of what would become a very long and successful tradition with Beretta. It's 9mm, 8-round magazine. It's got the nice little pinky hook. And the magazine release, we'll take a closer look at this, but it's weird. It's a button on the low side of the gun. So it almost reminds one of the traditional heel release that a lot of European handguns have, but not quite. It's like an improved version of that, but not quite the button by your thumb that, you know, we Americans are most used to. This gun was designed by the Pietro Beretta company in the late 40s and early 50s as intended to be specifically for military use and intended to replace the model 1934, which was chambered in .380 or 9mm short. It was kind of successful in that the Navy adopted it, a number of different Italian police agencies adopted it. I don't know all their names, very Italian words, and as I've said with many other languages, I don't speak Italian, so I'm gonna kind of avoid just massacring their language, but there'll be a couple times when I don't have much of a choice. But yeah, so the Navy adopted it. The Army never did officially adopt the model 1951. They've popped up in pop culture a couple times. Most notably, though, would be the infamous chainsaw scene in the movie Scarface. Al Pacino can be seen pretty prominently packing one of these around as the character Scarface, Tony Montana. And yeah, so it's a very cool piece. Let's go ahead and take this over to the table and take a closer look. There's not an awful lot that we're going to look here as far as markings, but basically you've got your legend on the side, P Beretta, meaning Pietro Beretta, caliber 9mm, model 1951, patent, Gordone VT Italia. On this side, you've got this little word here. Can't really read it so well in this image, but that says, it appears to be smontaggio, which translated to English just means disassembly. So for disassembly, first we'd mentioned already the this button mag release. So older European style guns would have a latch here that you'd depress and pull out. With this, they switch to a button. Now, this little smontaggio, see this notch here? We want to get that lined up and boom. Now, recoil spring guide rod. This is being finicky. Okay, there we go. Got to depress that. So there's that falling block, not locking block, falling block. And if you remember the disassembly of the Walther P38, you may see the similarities there. Just goes back in. Get that lined up. Yeah, things are bouncing around on me a little bit. Keep that in place. There we go. Put it back on the slide. And then again, we've got to line up the smontaggio. Boom. Gun does lock on an open mag. This is your release. And then your safety also is kind of strange on this. So this is your safety here. You push from this side, and it only works if the hammer is back. This is a single action gun, and there's no double action function. So safe, fire. So yeah, let's go ahead and put another magazine through this guy. This is a good gun, guys, and if you're looking for a military surplus pistol that is not that expensive or hard to obtain, these are pretty awesome, honestly, and not that common, really, though the production numbers of them weren't particularly small. Production, by the way, began in limited numbers in 1953, officially entered full-scale production in 56, I believe it was, and continued all the way until 1980. But yeah, not really something that a lot of people know about, it seems. It's not a gun that I hear talked about, at least. But the gun that was kind of the follow-up is talked about plenty, because the follow-up to this was the Beretta 92, which everybody that knows anything about modern handguns is familiar with the Beretta 92. Beretta's kind of famous for that, for a laundry list of reasons. And speaking of the 92, I'd mentioned the Army never formally adopted the Model 1951. The 92 is kind of the next upgrade after the 51, where higher capacity, just better functions in pretty much every way. Same caliber, 9mm, but simplified controls, just an all-around better gun. And the Army held out and kept using the Model 1934 in .380 until the 1952 rolled around. The Italian Army, mind you. But a number of other countries did use these. There were a few contracts for Egypt and a number of other Middle Eastern countries. Beretta was actually trying to kind of snake the Egypt contracts and get them for themselves, and this was kind of their flagship gun to the Egyptian armed forces. Or at least a variation of this. There are a few different variations that exist. You'll see 1952 models, sometimes just called the Model 952 or 952. Those are civilian models, but the Model 1951 was never intended for civilian use. The 1952, as I said, some slight differences, but that was your closest to a civilian model of a 1951. So, yeah. Again, thank you for calling, for letting us take a little video here of your gun. It's a pretty sweet piece. I think you done good. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. See you next time on Great Northwest Weaponry.